going to talk about MTP. Its full form is Medical Termination of Pregnancy. We'll see in detail about this MTP, okay, which is Medical Termination of Pregnancy. Okay, so let's see first its definition. It is intentional or voluntary termination of pregnancy before full term. So which means before the complete days of pregnancy, if someone wants to get rid of the pregnancy, then the condition is called MTP. So MTP is actually a abortion. Okay, so this abortion, I'm going to categorize into two types actually. Right, one called spontaneous abortion. This is also called miscarriage. These spontaneous abortions or miscarriages will take place naturally due to several reasons. Now, and another one called induced abortion. This induced abortion is also called MTP. So this MTP, what I'm talking, is actually a induced abortion that is performed by a qualified medical practitioner, and completely remove the pregnancy. Now the question comes, why people want to go for MTPs? So here MTPs are opted. So for what purpose? Obviously to get rid of unwanted pregnancy. So to get rid of those unwanted pregnancy, so they don't want the pregnancy, or they don't want to give birth to a child. Now the question comes, in what conditions it becomes an unwanted pregnancy. So these unwanted pregnancies caused due to a casual unprotected sexual intercourse, right? So if they did not use any contraceptives, then it's an unprotected sexual intercourse. So due to that, it can result in pregnancy, or due to failure of contraceptive used during coitus. So in certain conditions, there is a chance of the contraceptive failure, and that can result in pregnancy, or in another conditions due to rape. So in such conditions, it can result in unwanted pregnancies. Now this MTP in India is legalized. Was legalized in 1971. So it was legalized in 1971. Now but with strict guidelines. So here they have to follow some strict guidelines. So why these strict guidelines? Because to avoid misuse. Okay, so to avoid misuse, so in what cases they are misusing these MTPs? So when the couple comes to know that they are carrying a female child, a female baby, then definitely they like to go for MTPs. Okay, so what we call female feticides in India. Okay, as I have discussed earlier, that they want in most of the cases a son who can carry surname for generations. Okay, so for that purpose, so if they come to know that they are carrying a female fetus, they like to go for a NTP. So for that purpose, the government of India has laid some strict guidelines, to avoid the misuse of NTP. So to avoid misuse of illegal female feticides. Okay, so to avoid illegal female feticides. Now there is a lot of debate whether to make this MTP illegal or not in many countries. Okay, because this MTP, that is induced abortion, has so many factors that has to be considered here. Okay, so these MTPs due to emotional, right, ethical, then religious, and even there are social issues, so that impact on these MTPs. So in many countries they're considering all these emotional, ethical, religious and social issues. Some countries they did not legalize MTP. Okay, right. Now, how they come to know it's a female feticide? It's by a test called amniocentesis. Okay, so it is by a test, what we call it amniocentesis. Right. So with using this amniocentesis, one can determine the sex of a child. Okay, so they can come to know whether it is a female fetus or a male fetus. Now, here I would like to discuss a little about this amniocentesis. Okay, so amniocentesis, it is a fetal sex determination, test based on the chromosomal. So it will be based on the chromosomal pattern, in the amniotic fluid. Right, so it's a fetal sex determination test based on the chromosomal pattern in the amniotic fluid. Now we have studied in the previous chapter surrounding the baby, there will be a fluid, what we call it amniotic fluid, and in this amniotic fluid there will be cells of the fetus. So there will be a lot of cells that have been separated from the fetus, and they will be present in the amniotic right fluid. Now they are going to collect a small amount of amniotic fluid that consists of fetal cells, and by determining the chromosomes of that cells, they can come to know the sex of the fetus growing. Now here, this is not only used for determining the sex of the fetus, it is also amniocentesis is also used to find any abnormalities with the growing fetus. So they use actually, okay, to find out any abnormalities with the growing fetus. Okay, so if that abnormalities result in a right fetus that did not develop properly or have some, okay, right conditions that result in the death or some other reasons, so they can go for actually MTP. So for that, okay, of course, now here this MTP, instead of using it for a good purpose to know about the abnormalities, right, they are using to find out the sex of the fetus, and if they come to know it is a female fetus, they like to go for, okay, MTP. Now here, in case of amniocentesis, so this amniocentesis, how it is performed actually, okay, somewhere around 15 to, okay, 20 ml of, right, amniotic fluid, 15 to 20 ml of amniotic fluid, okay, is collected, okay, and that consists of the fetal cells. As I told that the amniotic fluid will consist of, okay, cells of fetus, okay, right, and from these cells they are going to find out the chromosomal pattern and so, okay, so from these cells, right, so they find chromosomal pattern, okay, and that will actually help to find out the sex as well as the abnormalities of the fetus. As I mentioned, abnormalities, what will be these abnormalities? So the abnormalities may be like to find out Down's syndrome, okay, or hemophilia. So these are actually genetic disorders. I'm going to talk about these genetic disorders, okay, in a chapter called principles of inheritance and variations. So in that chapter, I'm going to talk about these Down syndrome, hemophilia, almost all genetic disorders we will discuss in the chapter principles of inheritance and variations here. Now this amniocentesis is in fact used to find out this Down syndrome, okay, right, hemophilia here, and okay, and then sickle cell anemia, okay, and also will help in to find out, okay, uh, to find out, okay, survivability of fetus, right. So these three are genetic disorders. I'm not going to talk about all those genetic disorders, we'll see it later, okay. So these are some conditions to, okay, find out by using this amniocentesis test, okay. So there are associated abnormalities with the fetus, and those abnormalities are like these genetic disorders, and there may be right, a condition like the survivability of the fetus also they will determine, okay, right. uh, I discussed this amniocentesis mainly because of this fetal sex determination, okay, and if we come to know the sex of the fetus is female, then most of couples in India, they are going for MTP, right. When is this MTP performed? Okay, when is MTP, okay, performed? So here MTP is safe in first trimester, okay. We know the whole 9 months have been divided into 3 trimesters, okay. So the first trimester, which means the first, okay, 3 months, okay, which also I call it 12 weeks. MTP is safe within 12 weeks. Okay, so if it goes beyond it, there may be certain critical issues that one have to consider, right? Let's see, there are some new rules in the MTP, which we call Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, and for that there is an amendment in 2017, and right, so this amendment includes certain conditions to reduce incidence of illegal abortions and also consequent maternal mortality and morbidity. Now here, according to this act, right, what are the situations or the grounds to perform MTP? Okay, so according to this act, the ground for performing MTPs, right? Now here, and and when to perform, right? I will say about those things here. Now, if the pregnancy is within 12 weeks, if pregnancy is within 12 weeks, then there is uh, opinion of only one medical practitioner is enough, right? So if we see that the pregnancy is within 12 weeks and did not exceed 12 weeks, then only one doctor can consider this and go with the MTP. So he's only one medical practitioner advice is enough, okay, if the pregnancy is within 12 weeks. Now in another condition, if the pregnancy lasted for more than 12 weeks but fewer than 24 weeks. So if the pregnancy is more than 12 weeks but not more than 24 weeks, so within this 12 weeks to 24 weeks, so within this, in this condition, opinion of two medical practitioners is required. So in earlier case, only one medical practitioner is enough, to consider. But in this case, two medical practitioners should be of opinion. So they should come to an opinion whether to perform MTP or not. What are those conditions to perform the MTP? So I said that to perform the MTP, we require certain ground. Only on that certain grounds the MTPs are performed here. Now, in the first point here, so the continuation of pregnancy would risk the life of the mother. So if if the pregnancy continues, that it can result in the death of the mother. So in such conditions, they definitely like to go for MTP. So right, so this statement simply means so there will be a risk of the mother's life. So in that conditions, they like to go for MTP. In second ground here, the baby born may suffer from a lot of abnormalities. They may have or the baby may have mental abnormalities or physical abnormalities, and that they cannot survive in the world, even though they are alive. So in such conditions also, the MTP is performed. So these are the two critical grounds on which the doctors like to perform MTP. The next one I like to talk about, right? Next we'll say about sexually transmitted infections. So in short, I call them STI. Here, first we'll look at the definition. Okay, so the definition is infections or diseases that are transmitted through sexual intercourse. So all those infections or diseases that are transmitted through sexual intercourse are collectively called right, STIs. Okay, are collectively called sexually transmitted infections. So these STIs are also called venereal diseases. In short, we call VD. Right? It also has one more name. It's called reproductive, okay, tract infections. In short, RTI. Should not get confused with the right to information. So in this case, it is a reproductive tract infections, or one and all the same, right? Either venereal diseases, reproductive tract infections, or the sexually, okay, transmitted infections, all one and the same. Now, these STIs are very high among, okay, age group. So the people who are in an age group between 15 to 24 years, so they are the one who usually get infected with these STIs. So they are in this age group, okay, such infections are very high. Okay, now let's see some sexually transmitted infections. Okay, like one, okay, gonorrhea is a sexually transmitted infection. Then we have is syphilis. Okay, then genital warts. Okay, then chlamydiasis. Okay, and right, trichomoniasis. Okay, then we have is okay, hepatitis B, right? The next one is genital herpes, and another one is AIDS. Right? We will be talking about these things, and especially this AIDS in detail. We will discuss in another chapter. Okay, like in human health and diseases. In that chapter, we'll talk in detail about this. Okay, AIDS. Now, out of these STIs, the gonorrhea, syphilis, genital warts, chlamydiasis, trichomonas, almost all these diseases are, okay, completely curable. So we can completely treat these diseases. But for this hepatitis B, okay, genital herpes and AIDS, for them there is no cure till now. So till now, okay, there is no complete treatment for this hepatitis B, genital herpes. Okay, so there are some, okay, medications available only to suspend a temporary, okay, infections and so, but not a complete treatment till now it is available. Okay, so here, right, so these are about a few STIs. Now, should not think that all STIs will be transmitted only through sexual intercourse. There are some STIs which can be transmitted other than the sexual intercourse. Okay, like in case of hepatitis B. Okay, so this is a viral infection, and right, another one like a HIV is also an viral infection. So in these cases, okay, the transmission is not only through sexual intercourse. Okay, so here, so transmission is not only through sexual intercourse. Okay, so there are other ways of this diseases, okay, that they spread from person to person. Okay, so here the other ways of infection will be, right, sharing injection needles. So if a person if someone uses a, okay, injection needle, and that needle is used on another one, or they are sharing, okay, for a multiple persons, then if any one person among them have that, okay, hepatitis B or HIV, it will be transmitted to all the one who have shared this, okay, injection needles from that infected person. Then even using surgical instruments and transfusion of blood, okay, from infected person. Okay, so from infected person, even the transfusion of the blood can also result in transmission of the disease. Okay, and this infection can also be transmitted, okay, from mother to the fetus. So from mother to fetus also these infections will get, okay, transmitted. So in these cases there is no sexual contact. Okay, right. So these diseases, STIs like hepatitis B or HIV, they will be transmitted, okay, not only through that sexual intercourse, they can also get transmitted, okay, in many other ways here. Right. Now let's see some symptoms of these, okay, STIs. Now in case of STIs, the initial symptoms may be minor. Okay, so here early symptoms, okay, of these STIs are minor, and in because of this many people they neglect, okay, and do not like to visit the doctor at all. Okay, now let's see what those minor symptoms. In this case, itching will be seen, okay, and then there may be fluid discharge, okay, and there may be, right, slight pain, okay, and there may be, okay, swelling. So all these symptoms we may see in the genital region. So these symptoms are very minor, and the infected person thinks that these are all temporary, and okay, takes self medication, okay, and but they won't help at all, and definitely the later stages it can create a lot of complications. Okay, now in some cases, okay, infected women may remain asymptomatic, means they do not show any kind of symptoms. I think nowadays you might also heard, okay, during this COVID-19, some persons, even though infected with COVID-19, they are not showing any kind of symptoms. Okay, such persons we call them asymptomatic, means they do not have, so here A, means no. Okay, no symptoms will be seen. So even then, so we cannot say that if the person is not showing symptoms, the person is not having disease. In fact, they are having disease, okay, but they do not show any symptoms. Now in case of STIs, if a person is not showing any symptoms, they think they are completely normal, and this is a period where they can transmit the disease from one person to another person. Okay, so for this reason, okay, so especially these women are the one where they remain in cases asymptomatic, and for this reason, right, they remain undetected. So they remain undetected, okay, for that, and they will be transmitting the disease from person to person. If symptoms are absent or less significant, so if it is the case, the infected person, as I told, they do not like to visit the doctor. Okay, so if the symptoms are absent or less significant, okay, now in such conditions, the person may remain with the infection for a long time. So this leads to complications. So that can result in some complications. So what those complications here? Okay, so it can cause pelvic inflammatory diseases. So it can cause pelvic inflammatory diseases. Then it can also cause abortions. Then it can also cause stillbirths. So stillbirths, okay, when the baby dies within the womb and the dead baby is delivered. So in that case, okay, we call stillbirths. Then it can also result in ectopic pregnancies. So ectopic pregnancies are the situations where okay, implantation and further development takes place in the regions of the female reproductive, okay, structures other than the uterus. Okay, so sometimes after fertilization takes place, the implantation and everything may take place within the fallopian tube, is a structure other than the uterus. So if implantation and further development takes place other than the, okay, uterus, then such conditions we call ectopic pregnancies. So it can result, okay, these STIs for a longer time, they remain with the person, that can also result with these ectopic pregnancies. Then, okay, it can also result in infertility. Okay, so infertility is a condition where okay, a woman is unable to conceive, right? So in that case, we'll talk about this infertility, of course, in detail, okay, at the end of this chapter. So what are the causes of infertility, how to rectify, okay, or overcome these infertility problems, okay, in case of male as well as female. Okay, that is that it can result in infertility condition. So the woman, okay, or the a man will not be able to, okay, become mother or father. Okay, so such conditions we call infertility conditions. The next one will be about okay, it can also cause cancer of RTI. Okay, so it can cause cancers of reproductive, I mean, okay, cancer of, I'll write here, cancer of reproductive tract, right? Now let's see some infections and their causative agents, which I already have mentioned. Okay, all these sexually transmitted infections here. So this gonorrhea is caused by Neisseria, okay, gonorrhea. So this is actually a bacterium. So it's a bacterial disease. The next, syphilis, is caused by Treponema pallidum. This is also a bacterium. It's a bacterial infection. Then chlamydiasis, the chlamydia trachomatis, okay, is the bacterium that causes this chlamydiasis. Okay, then the genital warts is caused by human papilloma virus, in short I call HSV. So this is a viral infection. So in these cases they are bacterial infections, and this the genital warts caused by human papilloma virus, it's a viral infection. Then the trichomonas vaginalis, this is a, okay, a flagellated protozoan. So this is a protozoan infection. Trichomoniasis is caused by flagellated protozoan. Now hepatitis B is called HBV, and again this is also a viral infection. The next one, the genital herpes, is caused by herpes simplex virus, and this is also a viral infection. And lastly, we all know AIDS, okay, that is caused by human immunodeficiency okay, virus, and this is also a viral infections. Okay, that, so this is a little information, okay, about different sexually transmitted okay, diseases and their causative agents. Let's see about preventive measures, okay, of these sexually transmitted infections. Now the first one, avoid sex with unknown partners or multiple partners. Then one should always try to use condoms during, okay, coitus or sexual intercourse, right? uh, if there is a doubt, or in case of a doubt, the person should definitely visit the doctor, so that the disease can be detected early. So if the disease is very late, it's very quite difficult to treat. So for that reason, the it's a very good to get an early detection. So if that disease is detected, the person should go for a complete treatment, okay, and a complete once the treatment is completed, so the person can be free from these STIs. And in the next session I will talk in detail about infertility.